and we'll have the map ban up for you in just a moment or so. But until we get there, or rather,
as we get there, we're there.
Production, I love you. You got here faster than I thought we were going to. Nope, we're not doing that again.
What?
Nope. Are we going to go back to a map that we played already? Border and Clubhouse will be our last two maps. The answer is yes. We will go right back to Clubhouse. So the map that we just finished, well, we're going to go back there. And the thing is that Clubhouse is very much impacted by what's banned. We saw Montaigne get banned, specifically to target phase. Probably won't see that happen this time. Could it be a Capital?
Could be a Capital. Could be we get a Thatcher Thermite sort of situation. We saw Habana ban in the last one. It's definitely going to be one hard destructor. Clubhouse without a hard destructor ban is kind of weird. It's a little bit more even, but it's still favoring the defense. But I fully expect at least one, maybe a hard destructor, a pseudo hard destructor like Maverick, something along those lines. And it could be a Capital as well. Could be a Jackal if one of these teams really wants to get like a top floor roam when they're defending the basement, or do some kind of extended mid floor roam sort of situation. We've seen those before. To see what happens when we actually get into the match, and it depends on the planning that's gone into this one. And of course, that's only something that these teams know.
Yeah. Community vote. This one's going to be interesting. How do you vote?
So interesting.
87 to 8%. Good Lord.
So talk about the favored child. I mean, we know that Liquid is team that you would expect to win this one. We're not really, I don't think we're going to be questioning that one, but Parker's right. INTZ has some chances of an upset here. They are a little bit of a dark horse, obviously, given this community vote.
This match is much closer than the community vote suggests.
Yes, I would say
way
so.
closer, way closer.
Maybe they get into the match and Liquid proves us wrong, and by completely trouncing INTZ, but I do think that 87 is a little bit extreme.
Oh, it's
a lot of it extreme.
Unfathomably high.
Yeah.
I would put it closer to maybe like a 60-40, 65-35 if I were to control this. If I was the puppet master of all the voters, that's where I would be putting us. 65 to 35.
Is there such a thing?
I mean, there's voting bots if like you really wanted to get into it, but I don't think
anyone uses that for a community vote.
I don't think there's been any tampering.
Why would you do that for, yeah. No reason.
I mean, it's not like there's an invitational spot on the line.
Oh! Vital. Oh!
I actually think that reference might predate a lot of people that are watching because it was back from...
We shouldn't tell them.
The fall of like 2017, beginning of 2018.
It was the 28...
It's a joke.
Yeah. It was an old invitational. And you know how we have an invite?
Don't explain it.
Don't explain it? Okay.
We don't need to talk about it.
We're not going to talk about it.
We don't need to talk about it.
We'll move on.
You can Google it. If you know how to use Google.
Yeah.
Which you probably do.
You can go on Wikipedia. They still have the whole thing, the catalog there. So.
Liquipedia is a great resource, by the way. A lot of people, as we are waiting to get into the match, this is just a side note, Rainbow Six's Liquipedia page is your best friend. I mean, the ESL page is also really good. There's the info on the Ubisoft page. There's Siege GG as these resources, but the Liquipedia page it's chef's kiss.
If you want it all, then technically speaking, the Liquipedia page is like that's the go-to. You got all of it. You got all the details. You can get your pro league. You can get your other outside leagues. You can get Challenger League. You can get the majors. You can get the season finals. Every little bit of detail that you want. Also going down to the matches, the teams, their rosters, the roster changes, and all that stuff. What they banned,
how long someone's been on the team, former rosters. Even the org's sponsors are on there. And the other big thing that I always like to give praise to Liquipedia for is the common question is who's playing and when.
Yeah, because they get the basics right.
And they tell you in your own time zone how many hours or minutes until the match is live. And speaking of, you don't need Liquipedia to tell you that we're about to get into Liquid versus INTZ esports. So, our third match of the day.
One little thing, one extra side note. When I get ready to schedule myself, my sleep schedule for casting a match, I check two things. I check the actual specific time that I was given internally, and then I check Liquipedia, and I make sure
tell you how many hours that is.
To tell me how many hours that is, the exact reference, so I know exactly what I'm getting myself into. I always triple check it. Too many opportunities to make mistakes there.
There have been times where it's like, because they use the 24-hour clock here. Operator bans are happening, by the way. We'll touch on them in just a second.
Yep.
Operator bans are happening right now, but there'll be times where it's like, okay, at 1900. Which we don't really use 24-hour clock in North America unless you're in the Army. So it's like, okay, well, that's 7 p.m. But you're like 1900, and you're like, all right, it's 400 right now. It's 4 a.m. And you're like, Okay, well, that's 15 hours away. How long do I need to sleep? When do I need to sleep? When do I need to wake up? How many hours away is that? Blah, blah, blah. You look at it and you just go and you check and you're like, oh, look at that. It tells you right away.
It's very convenient.
Anyway, the operator bans, the defense bans are going to be exactly the same as what we saw on the previous Clubhouse between Nip and FaZe in match number 2 of the day. It's an Echo and a Mira. However, both of the attacking bans are different. No Maverick. So Bandit tricking, Kaid juggling, and any form of mute jammers will be exceptionally effective. A Thatcher will be almost always a requirement for every team from here on out. And then Capitao joins him as inaccessible for the remainder of this match.
So you got INTZ starting on defense here. They'll go to Cash first. These bans, as you discussed, I mean, well, we pretty much we expected these. You might, by the way, you might be wondering if you're a newer player to Rainbow Six Esports, if you're not familiar, you might be wondering why we talked about the attacker bans and not so much about the defender bans. And we didn't even, it's not really worth bringing up because usually the defender bans are the same all the time. You get, you've got like a pool of, let's say, Echo, Maestro, Mira, Valkyrie. And then some niche picks, I suppose, that get banned most frequently. I'm forgetting something. Something's slipping my mind there. In that, in those Echo, Maestro, Mira, Valkyrie, and then who else really?
5 seconds to go.
What?
Of the commonly banned defenders.
There are 4 commonly banned defenders. The 3 big ones, then Valkyrie. That's it. 4.
That's it. I feel like I gotta be missing something. It can't be that short, the list.
Yeah, I mean, the 4 most commonly banned defenders by a country mile, and then the 5th is usually Pulse.
Maybe Pulse. Well, anyway.
All information gatherers, Pulse always 5th.
Yeah, of course the trend there, if you notice, is information.
It's the greatest strength of the defenders. What do the attackers have access to? Drones.
Right.
What are they good at collecting? Information. The defenders are at a major deficit. Yes, they have the advantage of knowing the site itself and the way it's set up.
So, anyway, the point I was trying to get at to is that you might be wondering why we didn't talk about the defender bans. That's why. It's because it's like copy-paste almost all the time. Just a little bit of variation. This time it's Echo instead of Maestro some other time. Now, we've got a pretty standard cache setup. Interestingly, we're going to have bandit tricking attempted here. That's why, that's where the Capitao ban comes in. Of course, Liquid is on attack first half, but INTZ is going to leverage that ban for their own advantage because it works that way too. Moringa's trying to time this perfectly. Drunks is going to go in for the trick. Is there anyone from below? Nope, there's a stun though. Lifeline is going to deny the trick, and so the wall will get open. So what happened there was, number 1, there was a mute jammer, which needed to be EMP'd. Number 2, the Thermite needs to plant the exothermic charge on the wall. Now the problem usually for the attack is going to be the bandit is going to trick the wall. He'll place a battery on the wall, destroying the exothermic charge. But what happened there is the drone hole next to the wall allowed for the Zofia to shoot a lifeline through the drone hole and stun the bandit. When you stun the bandit with a lifeline, he cannot place his battery or it cancels the animation. So double stun, the wall gets guaranteed open. Nice shot from Duds to start off the killing though, as Nesk is gone. Nesk did do his job with those stuns, so it's not the end of the world, but now, of course, Nesk is one of the best fraggers in the entire world, so having him gone, not going to be really fantastic for Liquid, but of course, at least they get a flank watch. That drone that was just positioned by Palu will probably be watched diligently by Nesk for the majority of this round.
And a major shout out to Reaper, was it, who compiled a list of the lifetime, or from a set season, lifetime players with the most frags, the highest rating, etc. And Nesk was what? It was like 2nd or 3rd best player, period. Yeah, he was up there. And
I haven't seen
it was a weighty undertaking. Down goes Palu to a C4 from Drunks, and INTZ obviously is getting the start that they need. 30 seconds to go, as we've been talking about a variety of things in this round, as Liquid has taken precious time to get on in. They need to hurry.
Yep.
From below, the bandit, who's not going to need to bandit trick it, but you can hear the MP7 just simply shoot away at all of the X-Kairos that are on the wall itself. 15 seconds left, and Drunks will need to head up the red stairs. Duds eliminates Moringa, and there's only 2 left. Sexy Cake and PSK, the 2 hard supports. The Sexy Cake tries to go prone on in. He takes 2 down with them.
5 seconds to go.
Can he get more? 1v3? No. Top the red stairs. He's gunned down. That's the end of his run. First round goes to INTZ.
So, good start for INTZ there. Of course, defender sided, it's going to be like that, no matter what. That's not going to change. It's Clubhouse, even with the bans being different.
It's always going to be like that as well when you lose Nesk first. It's never going to get better. So
I didn't know this, but yeah, okay. So, lifetime, apparently, one of the top players out there. But just in general, I think he's got that reputation already established for him. Now, it's going to be basement defense next. We'll see if Ness can stay alive long enough to influence the round this time. Other than of course, other than denying the bandit tricking.
I suspect he will.
I suspect he will as well.
An early pick on Nesk is not something that always happens. I mean, it is more common than not because of the fact that he being your main entry most of the time, though Paulo would like to argue with that as of late.
They can both do entry. I mean, it's really... I think they're both pretty good at it, I'd say. The overall lineup, though, for Liquid is pretty versatile. Almost anybody on that roster can do entry when it's necessary. Sexy Cake has his moments, too. Remember when Sexy Cake used to be like a pure fragger before he got picked up by... What is that?
I remember.
Yeah, so before he got picked up by Liquid, he was a pretty heavy fragger, and it's actually, I think, the thing that most attracted Liquid to him as a player is he was really dominant on a team that was doing pretty poorly. It was a long time ago. So they put a pre-play C4 for the top floor clear from Alameo. It's an interesting C4 placement, I'll say.
I've seen Alameo. We're going to struggle with his name.
Alameo?
Alameo.
He's got a second A in there, so I'd say Alameo. He's got 4 A's, right?
No, it's A-L...
No, three A's.
A-L-E-M-4-O. Alameo.
Well, the 4 is an A.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Alameo.
So...
That's how I've heard other people pronounce it before. I could be incorrect, so feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, and I can't wait to check my Twitter mentions when I've had 80 people telling me that I say it the wrong way, but that's fine. So feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard Alameo is the way his name is pronounced. He's a streamer. He's 18 years old. He's a young gun. He got picked up by INTZ. He's a Twitch partner as well. I've seen him around before. I've seen him stream before. I believe he's competed in Twitch Rivals before when we've seen Portuguese teams play, or rather the Brazilian teams play.
The C4 worked.
C4 did work. Paulo is down.
So that's Alameo's C4.
They'll have to retrieve him. You have to be very careful if you're Sexy Cake. There goes the Valkyrie camera as well that was being used to provide the information for that C4 to go off.
But, I mean, you put your Paulo on low HP, and that's already worth it.
Excellent.
Oh, well, the camera's there still.
There's multiple cams, Michael. Valkyrie gets 3 of them?
Yes, but the camera that was for the C4 is still there, surprisingly. In fact, all of them are still intact. I'm kind of shocked by that. There's one in the bar, there's one here, and there's one above. So they haven't even lost utility on information.
They just lost the cam. It looks like the Sledge Apollo saw the cam right as Alameo got off it.
Okay.
And now you've lost it upstairs. Obviously, we can't check the Valkyrie camera, so we can only speculate. But yep, it was up there, and yeah, it looks like it.
All the while, a lot of time being spent here. Paulu's being called over to open this up, but actually Neska's going to get impatient, use one of his breaches. He didn't need to get impatient there, actually. The Sledge was just about to arrive. This is, of course, to achieve the angle that we'll see into Church, the one that you saw Paulu using just now. It's going to be a really powerful angle to use. Will afford quite a lot of information to Liquid, and it'll allow them to light up drunks inside of Church, which is a good answer back to Paulo.
Fire going over top of the Church wall now is... No tricking is going to be available, but it is a Kaid. Keep that in mind. We'll be able to get both. Doesn't look like it's going to get either. It's taken out, and there goes the wall to the exothermic charge. Drunks is there. C4 gets tossed out. Down goes Sexy Cake. TCSG eliminates the drone, and he's got a peek hole at his bottom right of the wall that needs to be very wary of. The PSK is watching. LMAO finds Paulo. He'd done some damage earlier on, and he'll get the rest of it. That's just a bit of negligence as PSK looks to finish off one. Moringa finds Drunks, and Liquid will charge on in. They've got control of the back of Church, and will go for the plant. Moringa there with Nesk and PSK watching. Where's Duds? He's got a rotate hole. Alameo on the flank. He sees a dead body. Huge round for him. He takes 2 out of action, and that's all they wrote for Liquid on that second round. 2 in a row for INTZ.
That's a big win for Alameo. He got the initial C4, and I think a 3K in that round. So much damage done, so much information gathered by one player, and INTZ really worked around him and managed to collapse despite that plant coming down. Now, I honestly didn't think the plant was even going to get down in the first place. But the cool thing about the way that INTZ decided to retake that was that instead of just bullheadedly rushing into the enemy, they collapsed upon the planter in unison. The actual push in through Church was stalled out while the players in the main hallway flanked around so that they knew they were going to be engaging 2-on-1s instead of just a series of 1-on-1s. So that's a really well-coordinated retake from INTZ. And already they're proving themselves more worthy than 8%. Still early on, though.
That's unbelievable to me, 8%.
That is really astronomically low.
Absolutely unbelievable to me.
It's got to have something to do with the fact that they're kind of a they're a relatively new team, to be fair, like with the way that they've changed things up. So I get it. And plus it's Liquid. Liquid just won Pit, so...
OGA Pit. You can't just say Pit. It's not like you're friends. It's not Brad Pitt. You're not pals with it. You don't take it out for lunch dates.
If I were a friend with Brad Pitt, I would call him Brad.
Maybe he wants to be called Pitt. You don't know. You're not friends with him. You can't ask him that question, so you don't know.
Okay. I'm just not going to labor that point anymore.
It's like calling OGA Pit. It's like, here we are at ES.
10 seconds to go.
We do say SI.
Well, that's because that's the
5
brand.
seconds left.
What was it?
The better one would have been
OP? Can we call it OP?
UB instead of
Locate a
Ubisoft.
bomb and defuse it.
I call it UB.
People say UB all the time.
No, that's what I'm saying. That would have been a better example to prove me wrong. You can't just say Pit. You can say OGA. You can't say
What
Pit.
about like OP?
Is that OGA Pit just condensed?
Yeah, OP.
Absolutely not.
No? Not allowed? By the way, while you're bantering,
Yeah,
there
this
is
a bar stock defense happening in front of us.
Get out of my head.
Which requires quite a lot of conversation. Down goes Duds. A lot of the way that teams play this is they completely destroy that wall at a stock level. That's exactly what's happened here. There's some vertical presence as you got that entire second floor to roam, and hatches to drop if you want. The castle with the worst weapon in the entire universe of any video game ever is taken out at the top of red stairs. Or main stairs, if you want to call them that, rather. Not red stairs.
The UMP is pretty bad. Doesn't have rate of fire.
A bomb has been
Doesn't have
located.
DPS.
I will never forget, there was an NA player who once said, the UMP is only good at shooting people in the back.
Yeah, I mean, it's something along those lines. It really you're only going to win gunfights if you hit that really precise headshot, which happens with these kinds of players.
Yep.
Or if you get the advantage in some way. You catch them by the side or in the back, or you have information with a pre-fire. Anyway, moving on. This is a really interesting take we're seeing from Liquid right now. Looks like they want to go for stock. They're going to have to take Garage, open that up into Lounge, then they can pinch their stock and go for a plant. There's lots of denial tools, though, from INTZ to stop that.
Vince is all alone inside a strip club right now. C4 for the Kaid if required. Drunks does not hold a C4. He's got the impact, so the Kaid's the only one with explosive potential at the moment if you look at the lineup that INTZ has.
I wonder if Maestro's going to use that.
Actually, he doesn't. He had barbed wire, so there's 0 C4s available here. All right.
Alamayo's using the boost spot atop the bar. This is a really difficult spot to achieve, but as a Maestro, he could do a lot of work from here. If the enemy doesn't know that that he's doing that, he might be able to wreak havoc on a stock take. He also has a castle barricade from the front door to protect him. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Alamayo, the player on the bar right now, if he stands up, he will see over the bar and into the entirety of stock. So Liquid, having not accounted for that just yet, might face destruction if Alamayo's gun lights up.
And that whole wall being shot out means that there's nothing that's going to impede him. Meanwhile, look at the clock, 40 seconds. Liquid have done nothing other than take Duds out, which was a very early frag at the start of the round, and have made limited progress since. Down goes the volcanic shield, but there goes the plant from Sexy Cake. Is anybody watching? Drunks is down below. LMAO finds PSK. Plant's going down quite successfully, but INTZ comes alive. VNX with 2 big kills. Nesk finds one. He's still upright, but he gets taken out of action. It's now a 3v1. Palu's above, and he can watch that diffuser. He'll have to be shaken off of that second floor. But you've got so many people left. If you're INTZ, you can send 2 of them above to try and contest against the sledge. Don't feed yourself down to the counter defuse. Palu hears some things breaking around him. He edges towards the top. Diffuse going down, counter disabling, and Drunks wins it. Liquid falls, and INTZ on defense. They're unshakable. They complete the rotation with a bar stock as their 3rd site, not a gym master. And they're up 3-0.
Look at that reaction from INTZ. It was immediate. As soon as they knew that they weren't able to cover the plant from their current positions, they rotated, they changed.
They deliberately gave up stock.
Yeah, they gave it up. They baited them into the attack. And again, I thought they were going to try and sit back and punish from a distance. That was why Alameda was playing on top of the bar. But that didn't actually come into the round. It didn't factor in because of the way that Liquid attacked. They played very passively on their plant attempt, and there was no way for INTZ to deny. But that didn't matter because of how INTZ retook. That is the second time we've seen a beautiful retake from INTZ in 3 rounds. A really, really well executed defense from INTZ, I gotta say. And the crazy thing is Liquid read that setup from INTZ pretty well and still couldn't deal with the retake.
Really well done from INTZ there, and that was a textbook retake. Liquid is the team that knows retakes well. They used a retake in order to seal the deal in map number 2 against a team that you might know as G2 now, as Penta in Atlantic City, when Team Liquid won the Pro League season finals in season 7. Liquid's going to need to be better, though. They thought they'd caught INTZ looking, but didn't expect there to be a play happening after that diffuser went down, and a lot of it was on VNX.
I mean, there's been a lot of really interesting rounds so far. And okay, I really want to highlight this again because I think this is really important. We shouldn't be getting crazy about how INTZ's got 3 rounds on Liquid right now for one reason only. It's Clubhouse and they're in basement. Or they're not on basement, they're on defense, I should say. They have been on basement though, INTZ to defend that. One thing that is pretty cool and pretty crazy that we can freak out about is how INTZ has defended bar successfully. That is uncommon, at least. A lot of time being spent here. They're waiting for Nesk to get in position with the lifeline, as you can see. He's got to put a claymore down. He's got to rotate over. He's got to reload his gun. Here he goes for the lifeline. And now they should be able to start the process of opening up the wall. Meanwhile, we've seen a lot of time wasted. Door gets opened up from the B window to deny the denial of the lifeline. Only 1 stun is necessary. Only 2 stuns are used, and the wall gets opened up.
A lot of utility used, but you've shaken the bandit off. Drunks got out of there right away, and we had a beautiful view of that, to see the bandit fall off and not bother contesting it whatsoever. He's got information from the Evil Eye to give him a call if somebody deserves to, or somebody decides to push on in, and instead he'll actively trick a much easier wall to take, which is a construction wall.
Which is smart, because we've seen a lot of attacks come in through construction, workshop, and open up that wall, and you've got the server wall open, you've got that wall open. It's hard to lose as an attacker at that point, unless you've already taken too many, casualties.
The worry you need to have if you are a team on defense here is that you get trapped inside of the site, and if your roamers die early or you give up too much map control, then you get swamped on the actual site. In this case, INTZ hasn't lost anything. They've still got all 5 alive, a minute to go, and this is a bit plotting given the fact that INTZ has players off-site. Down goes Duds. So you've taken the Maestro out. It was a rotate that was coming on in through the top of Garage at Catwalk.
Really big kill there, because that's the crossfire that the defenders were relying upon to hold onto their site. The Xcaro's not exposed to Drunks here, but the second set will be. He's got to go for it, but he's going to use a C4. That's actually kind of belated decision-making from INTZ. And Drunk specifically. He could have done a lot more work there with that C4.
It does not look like, due to the metal bar in the middle, that they'll be able to get on in, and Vitz will start it off for INTZ, taking Nesk out. He's the first frag for Liquid, so they'll bounce back to a certain extent.
Not fully, though.
Drunks has walked up the top of red stairs. He's got Vitz nearby. A frag grenade will hold him at bay. Palu finds LMAO, and Drunks is still holding down that construction door. He'll have to walk in. The SMG-11 can be controlled by Vitz as the plant goes down from Sexy Cake. PSK will watch over top. You're going to need to peek on in, but they are dying to all the crossfires established, and Liquid with the perfect execute and coverage as Sexy Cake is completely immune to the push from INTZ. The very first round on the board for Team Liquid will come.
So that round was really interesting. A couple things I want to highlight. One, the Bandit didn't necessarily need to C4 that, and if he had decided to C4 it, he should have done it sooner when he had 2 sets available to destroy. That's number 1. Number 2, if he hadn't C4'd that, he would have been able to deny the plant from below. He didn't need to leave. And if he had denied the plant from below one time, I think that would have been the end of the round for Liquid, considering how little time there was left in the round. Liquid got a little bit lucky with a couple different factors, where, whether it be the C4 as denial, whether it be the initial pick onto the player on Catwalk, the Maestro, or just the fact that the rushes to try and stop that plant were unsuccessful from INTZ. But it worked out for Liquid, and that's what's really important. They finally put themselves on the board. Liquid only needs 1 more round to have a decent half. If a 4-2 on attack, you're okay. A 3-3, you're winning if you get that as an attacking team. And if you flip the script and you get a 4-2 as an attacking team, well, it's pretty much over on Clubhouse. That's typically how it goes. Not always, mind you. We have had, believe it or not, Clubhouse matches where every attack is won.
10 seconds left before
Crazy, but it happens. This is not going to be one of those, though, obviously.
5 seconds remaining.
As we've already established. Now, Ooh, what's that gonna get? Maybe
It's going to get the wall upstairs.
underneath.
It's going to get the bathroom wall.
Yeah, probably a bathroom wall.
Bathroom wall from underneath. Sonics did this a lot in North America when they played on Cafe.
You get a lot of that. Well, the Cafe one's, I think, a little bit more known. That one, you know, definitely known, too. Never seen it thrown, personally. But we have seen it used. We did see a match where that was being employed. We just never got to see it actually thrown, the specific location where.
Well, we did this time.
And now we know.
Now we know.
We're learning, chat.
We are learning. Learning is fun.
Learn with us. Come on this journey.
So this is going to be a roam setup that we see from a lot of teams. This has been popularized by some North American teams, and it has now been aped by other regions, including EU, who did it yesterday, and now Latin America as well. And that's castle barricades on the main floor that will assist in a roam of the second floor. It will waste a lot of time and a lot of utility. Clubhouse is not that hard to drone out, but when there are mute jammers stopping you, and maybe a Mozzie on the board, in this case there isn't, it can become quite a bit of a headache.
Yep.
Ringa took a bit of damage on a fight just outside a garage. He knows he's got somebody from INTZ trapped inside a stock, or at least he hopes trapped, because there's at least 2 ways out of stock given that rotate in towards bar.
You know, the mute Mozzie combo, which again, no Mozzie here, but that combo is just fatiguing for the droners. Nesk will get the first kill here. Duds eliminated. Now Moringa has eaten a lot of damage, so it's not the end of the world for INTZ, but they lost their Legion, which is an operator that generates more traps over time. He'll no longer be generating in this round. Alameo, though, responds with a C4 onto Nesk, so once again, one of the premier players on Liquid, gone.
It's funny because we said, you know, Nesk shouldn't be the first death. He's been the first death for Liquid. Whether it comes after they've already killed a couple people from INTZ or not, he's been the first death for Liquid 3 times, I think, of the 5 rounds.
Pretty, like a lot, yeah.
I mean, when you're the entry, like we said, you're usually going to be in that altercation. So, I mean, if your Thermite's dying first, it's a lot more grave than if Nesk is dying first. Though Nesk going down is rough, especially with Moringa on such low HP. Here's the thing, though. Liquid need to make sure that they're not going to be at such a bad shape that when they do actually push the site, they don't get pummeled by INTZ. And that's what I say because, and I say that because there's a minute left, just under a minute left. Look at the amount of time that INTZ has burned off of this clock for you.
Yeah, we've only got just a little bit left.
This is,
clock. As you said, this angle right here on Moto is going to be super important, but the only able to get 1. Sexy Cake gets the refrag, but VNX there, long range with the FO12 will secure Sexy Cake in the hallway.
It's what's known as pull spot here. Moringa's still low on HP. He hasn't been involved in anything, but there's Vitz with 2 for his trouble. They line up perfectly. How does this even happen? We'll see it from his perspective. 4-1 for INTZ.
Just a little bit of spam there. That's all it takes.
They do stack up.
Yep.
2 for the price of 1. 2 for the price of 1, as my dad always says.
Yeah, I think that the TCSG, and I haven't tested this, but I think it has some of the lowest recoil of any DMR. Not 100% sure. Technically, by the way, for the newer viewers, not a DMR. It's a little bit of an inside joke. It's a shotgun with slugs that acts like a DMR. So we treat it like one, generally speaking. Now, that round was a couple different things. One, it was INTZ putting up a little bit of barbed wire upstairs. Not literal barbed wire, but actually like slowing down the attack. They managed to waste a whole heck of a lot of time. They got the entry frag of Sexy Cake. Not Sexy Cake, rather of Nesk. And when the push came in, there was no control of Moto, strangely. And you're trying to push down main stairs, you generally have to open up the Moto drop down and then have someone play on it so that none of the defenders can push through Moto to stop you in the hallway. In this case, we saw 2 different people on the defense hold Moto and slow down / kill players on Liquid. We also had 1 player by pole spot in Armory, where you saw the ally get the kill with the FO12, and that crossfire needs to not be a crossfire for you to push that hallway. It's the whole point I'm trying to talk about. You got to get the drop down before you push the hallway. So I'm not really sure what happened there for Liquid. It was a little bit confusing. Probably just comes down to them not having a whole lot of time, and they felt rushed. But generally, I don't expect Liquid to be the type of team that gets put into a position where they feel rushed and then panics and rushes like they just did. Well, it'll be Jim now. It's the first Jim defense. Interestingly, not going back to Cash. INTZ are saying, you know what, we can't win Cash. We're never going to it again. And they haven't.
I mean, why not? You just won Church. If you're INTZ, you can go up 5-1 here. 4-2 is much more common, but the potential is there. We haven't seen them take a crack at Jim yet, so we don't exactly know what to fully expect, though the Goyo will be used to waste a lot of time and soften up Liquid's push somewhere around the Jacuzzi side of things. At least that's the way that we've seen traditionally Goyo be played. Though there is much more of a focus from INTZ on the cache and CCTV areas.
We see this go 5-1 for INTZ, then Liquid's in a tricky spot because as much as a 4-2 is like it's standard, it's okay. A 5-1, that means you're on the precipice of match point for the rest of the rounds, and that's just never a comfortable place to be, even if you're Team Liquid. So there's a lot of pressure on Liquid right now to win this, and on a site that they're not familiar with because they haven't had to attack it yet.
And it would be a major deflating moment for Liquid after they've had a pretty good couple months here. They are a much less reliable team in best of ones, though, and that's something that you need to keep in mind of. Oh no, Alamo almost kills himself.
Close, but not quite, I guess. Drunks might be impact tricking here for the second exothermic. He's got to set up because the flashes might disorient him. Oh, a nade. That's going to miss. Will the impact trick hit? Yes! There goes the exothermic charge. And INTZ can hold up the bathroom push. There is Habana, but at least you get the big hole.
It was beautiful spectator work as well to be able to see that whole thing play out for you at home.
Yes.
And Drunks sacrifices a tiny bit of his HP in order to stave off a push from Liquid in towards the bathroom. There goes the wall from Zofia. Ameo still playing behind this volcanic shield. He took some damage on one earlier when his C4 claimed it. He'll wait for the time being.
You can see that not all, but many players on INTZ are primed to be killed,
Yes.
low on HP. So this could be winnable for Liquid, even though there's not a lot of time left.
Paulo's going to drone himself into construction. Drunks gets spotted. They know he's still playing inside a bathroom, but all these windows are being held by Liquid, and they'll find one on Alameo as he peeks around the corner. Drunks just narrowly misses on the Zofia. There goes a toxic canister from his own teammate. Oh my, you can't get away with that. VNX takes out Moringa, so we're back at a 4v4, even though Liquid started things off so well. There's two more from them answered by Drunks, an advantage that Liquid still holds. Sexy Cake is 1 HP away from death, though. Can you manage to take him out of this? VNX, you gotta know the plant's going down. He captures one inside a construction, traded off by PSK. Sexy Cake is on 1 HP. Drunks will need one single shot to down the thermite. But he pulls out his pistol. Why? Because he's all out of ammo on the TCSG. This is going to be mighty tough. And it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to be anything. It's going to be a Liquid victory. A 4-2 scoreline for INTZ in the first half. Still pretty good, but it's what we come to expect from most Clubhouse defenses. The teams will swap sides.
Disappointingly for INTZ, they had a potential there, or a chance to deny the plant going down. We actually saw a push from the Jaeger of VNX, I believe, but he didn't check for the planter for some reason. I can't believe he didn't hear it tapping away. Usually you can tell that the plant is going down, or maybe there's a camera of some sort. I'm really surprised that call didn't come out, or that VNX didn't check to see the thermite, who was exposed thanks to those holes that were opened up at ankle height. It's just troubling. If that denial of the plant had come out, it would have been a round win for INTZ, and we would be at 5-1 right now. INTZ have just left the door open for Liquid, and their potential to win this match still is pretty high because of that round. Liquid are very happy about that, of course. Sexy Cake really clutch on the plant there.
What I've really liked about this match so far is we've gotten to see a number of really smart, really well-coordinated moves. The retake from INTZ on Barstock, the crossfires held on Cash by Liquid, that juggling sequence by the Goyo inside of the bathroom. That's 3 rounds out of 6 where we have captured not just small things, some of them massive, but we have gotten to see the exact look at what makes the depth of this game where it is, and what really separates the good teams from the great teams.
And we've also gotten to determine that INTZ is a team that merits more than 8% in the community vote.
I mean, I would have said that they deserve more than 8%.
But you did say it,
yeah,
before it even
started.
Yeah, but I think now that people are going to get to see it, it's a little bit more obvious. And I'm really impressed by INTZ. Of course, it's 4-2 in the defensive half, so that's what you would expect. But still, they didn't make any major mistakes. And Liquid is the type of team that even if you expect a defensive side to win their half, Liquid is the type of team that usually will deny you that. They're the type of team that they're so proficient they can win on the disadvantageous side more often than many teams. So
Attackers have located
it's going toe-to-toe with some big dogs right now, and It's impressive stuff. This is a really nice angle being used from a VNX. It is going to deny impact tricking to an extent. Not entirely. You can get some players who are going to be crossing that as they attempt to impact trick. But it's not a guarantee or anything along those lines. Best way you can do that is to open up the entirety of the kitchen floor. We've seen that happen before. There is no sledge on INTZ's side, though, so Buck is going to have to be exceptionally efficient with the skeleton key if he wants to open the whole kitchen.
I don't know, a lot of people prefer a Buck on Clubhouse recently, though Latin America was holding onto a sledge as a region a lot longer than other regions. I think they've fallen in love with Buck is capable of accomplishing. It's only one X-Kairos that goes off, maybe two at most, but it has successfully stopped that hatch.
They're going to use more impacts to get the last X-Kairos, so that means the drop won't be opened.
The mistake was trying to put more X-Kairos down after you'd already got that opening, because that opening makes it even easier to impact trick the remaining X-Kairos at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
you got to do more to push the defenders out before you throw those down. That was a big mistake by INTZ.
There were still two sets of impacts there. Liquid's not sweating the drop. They stacked a lot of impacts in that corner to deny getting opened regardless of anything you do. And yeah, not the right answer there from INTZ. C4 will get drunks, and there goes your thermite, so the church wall's not getting opened either. Hard destruction successfully denied for INTZ. They're going to have to struggle through these bottlenecks that Liquid are holding really well.
Let's talk that suppressor on the Vector as well. Maybe they know something we don't, because it's the second time we've seen it today.
Somebody told me it was an extended barrel, by the way.
It could be oh, that's right. Yeah, it could be the extended barrel.
Yeah,
playing long range. That's true. No.
I don't know if
they added it to it, right?
It's really hard to tell because it's kind of blurry.
Here comes the push, though. INTZ with 2 kills. Liquid grabs another. That's Nesk, as he's quarterbacking the defense, playing over by Pulse Spot. PSK has not been shaken off of Church, but he's only got Moringa there with him. Moringa's still playing behind the shield, but he pops up, and somehow INTZ wins that one.
What?
5-2. I was not expecting that after how things started, and I don't know, as much of our focus was on just our one operator on the screen.
Yeah, we didn't get to see most of the take.
If Liquid had just simply taken a lot of 50-50s and ended up on the wrong side of all of them.
It happens. What I will say, though, is it's very unsurprising the way that turned out, because let's just run through a scenario real quick, guys. It's the one that we just saw play out.
All right.
All of your hard destruction is denied on the relevant dropdowns, that being, and the wall. The church wall, the kitchen drop, not opened up by Habana or Thermite because of denial tools used by Liquid effectively. So let's run through. Let's just go ahead and say that that's happened, and you're at about an even man count with only 30-ish seconds left in the round. Who wins that on a basement clubhouse defense? 9 out of 10 times, that would be the defense. Not so in this case. Again, we didn't see all of the engagements that happened elsewhere, but that was just a really surprising result from INTZ. They put themselves, again, on the precipice of match point, 5-2. They need but one more round to guarantee themselves 1 point. Be impressive stuff. At the minimum 1 point, of course.
Cash CCTV defense from Team Liquid. At what point do you start to panic if you're them? Are you already panicking?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, let's look at panic as something that I don't see Liquid really have very much online. If I'm being honest, I've seen Liquid panic on lands before, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But online, I don't know. I think they'll be able to balance things out, maybe take a few more rounds. But what I'm seeing right now is not necessarily panic, more possibly... it could be, you know, that Liquid's not fully prepared for a match like this. I'm not going to say that as a authority, because I'm not in Liquid. I don't know what their daily routine is right now. But I don't think that they were expecting INTZ to be as proficient as they are proving themselves to be right now. There's also a couple different things that going on with the INTZ playstyle that is less predictable for anyone, really. The way that INTZ won that last round, for example, was just by rushing bottlenecks and winning gunfights.
Yeah.
Like, we can't skip around that. That's hard to counter.
I really wish we had seen what happened in that previous round between Liquid and INTZ when it came to every single gunfight being taken, because INTZ got picked up 3 or 4 kills in the span of 5 seconds.
We only saw the last gunfight, really.
And that's true. And then, yeah, we saw the smoke playing behind the deployable shield, which at that point, a smoke and a 1v4 is still very winnable, but...
and that's exact situation.
In that exact situation, when you are as pinned down as you are and you know that they're pushing you from 3 angles, you're not really going to go anywhere, so...
INTZ looking to open up this wall. Where's their Zofia is the real question, because they're waiting for the Zofia to... And the wall has, or the door has been replaced. So Dud's coming over. It took him a long time. We're halfway through the round. It's a Kaid and a Bandit. So you're going to try and hard deny. Here comes the second EMP. Door's been opened up, so the lifeline will be successful in stopping. And there's an impact from below. No, nade from below. Correction. Lots of utility just went into that hole. It was a utility dump for both the defenders and the attackers. The attack comes out slightly on top. I will say, though, too much time wasted.
And what a juggle it was, though, from the defenders. Yeah, PSK and Moringa both joining in on the fight here. Still, the wall gets opened up. You're very right. We've seen that with teams where they'll use a Capital Bolt, they'll use EMPs, they'll use Zofia stuns, they'll use a Thermite charge, and most of their utility will just simply go on getting that wall open. It can be worthwhile, but in this instance, I think the time is the greater loss for a team like INTZ.
Took them 2 minutes.
I was saying the same thing, though, about the previous round, is that they were taking too much time, and the next thing you know, they picked up 4 kills in
the span of a few seconds.
Yeah, in a hurry. So,
yeah.
Sexy Cake is entrenched upstairs. A frag grenade will land in his lap, and you can see that he'll do battle below with VNX. He's going to get pushed from multiple angles, takes out the Thermite, pops up. Can he grab the Thatcher as well? He knows that there's multiple people down there. He won't get past the buck. PSK jumps on in, takes out Vitz. So INTZ finds themselves one behind, even though Liquid gets that opening pick. Duds finds PSK. Palu can creep on up. Nesk is watching the opening and the breach hole. This is going to be a problem for Duds, and if you look at the HP of INTZ, there's almost no way they make it in. They're all on flashing HP. They don't even amount to half of an operator as LMAO goes for the plant. Palu finds VNX. Down he goes. C4, another one tossed in for good measure, but Liquid cleans up, as you'd imagine. 5-3 for INTZ, but Team Liquid strike back.
Big win there for Liquid, and I gotta say the linchpin is Sexy Cake in the garage, using that Alda. Oh boy, is it a proficient weapon, and he is a proficient user of said weapon. Now, Sexy Cake inflicted so much damage. He only got 1 kill, mind you, but he inflicted so much damage that the actual take, when it came out from the attackers, it was too low on HP. There was no way they were going to be able to get that plant down and successfully cover it in an even man count situation. So a nice try there from INTZ, gotta say, but Sexy Cake really just taking so much with him to his grave in terms of the enemy's utility, time, and manpower. Another thing, of course, this utility dump and time waster that was that server wall. That was big. We talked about it when it was happening, and it was still pretty large. Wow, all these players are on 9 ping right now. I just noticed.
They're all playing from the same house.
Is that true?
No, of course not true. Do you think they live together?
Oh, it would make no sense at all.
Could you imagine they're all just in the same room, but their computers are like mismatched? So like Nesk is sitting next to Drunks,
and he's like
he's just like looking over and
screen peeking.
Sexy Cake's just like swiveling his head to look at Vitz's monitor, and he's like, what's going on?
Nesk is like, stop, dude.
Guys, we really should have gotten more than one house.
We should have organized this better.
Why are we all here together? I know we're friends, but. Jeez. I mean, the same is happening in America right now, though. I mean, most of the Latin American teams, from what I understand, are in Sao Paulo, so they're...
Oh, yeah.
It would be about the same.
Most of them are Sao Paulo.
A lot of North American teams right now have team houses in Vegas. Rogue was there. Luminosity is currently there. Reciprocity is currently there. I can't remember if Tempo Storm...
I wonder if they use the West Coast servers then. Because I remember...
NA uses CUS.
Yeah, they usually use CUS. It depends on the match, right? If you get two West Coast teams, you may as well.
So, Duds has just walked on in because it doesn't look like there's anybody inside a cache. Castle will play around the corner, and Duds sees the arm.
It's going to be a X-Caro's used to open up the cache wall. Duds will get Sexy Cake as he peeks wild into cache. That's an early kill, all things considered. It's been some pretty slow rounds overall. Palu's wall gets opened up from behind, and he's eliminated by Duds, who gets his second kill for this round. Team Liquid falling apart, but Moringa's there to try and stop the bleeding as he gets Duds on the balcony. The door, rather window, has just been opened up. LMAO is going to get Moringa. It's all down to Nesk and PSK, the last 2 alive for Liquid. They're going to have to work some magic to make it happen. And honestly, Nesk is one of those players that can do that. And so can PSK, to be real with you. He's got the CCSG, so he can win those heads-up gunfights, especially on 3 armor like Kaid. It's going to be the Jacuzzi balcony that gets opened up next. Trunks goes for it. The Kaid Electrica has been placed. And there is potential for another EMP, but what just happened there is they're going to have to use up another EMP just to get the wall open. So that's really smart use there from PSK. Nesk playing inside of office. He's going to be pressured from the drop down. 2 players on the roof still for INTZ. One thing to note is that while INTZ has such an extreme advantage, they are not throwing it away. They want to use it to win the round. They're playing smart. They're droning out. They're using all of their time.
No matter what happens, if they get this final kill on INTZ because he peeks and he loses his fight, there it is. It's 1 point for INTZ as they move on to match point. That immediately nullifies, what, 87% of the community. They are incorrect in their opinion. At worst, INTZ will tie, and Liquid fans must be mighty disappointed with how this has gone.
Did you predict INTZ would win this one?
No, I'm pretty sure I said Liquid because I think that's the... I think
I threw Liquid in there.
Liquid definitely had the advantage.
Yeah, I predicted Liquid. I thought that they were going to be the team to take this one. And right now we're looking at a situation where that's not possible, so I'm already proven wrong. But more than that even, a single point secured here for INTZ, if they lose all of these next 3 rounds, would be really good for them against a team like Liquid. But more importantly, I gotta say, INTZ are making a name for themselves. And I think a lot of people and a lot of teams are going to be taking them more seriously after this match. Because Liquid's not exactly playing terribly. They're playing up to the highest standard I've ever seen Liquid play at. But they're not playing like they're throwing the match. They're looking pretty all right. The thing that I'm noticing more often than not is INTZ are just winning these fights, man. Like, what happened that last round? That last round, 2 people in cash while roaming up from gym peaked duds and died. Done. That's the end of the story there. They just peaked duds and died. They lost the fight. And because they lost that fight, cash was forfeited for Liquid. And because cash was forfeited, INTZ had extreme advantage in terms of position, time, and manpower, because they lost nobody in that process. You don't often see Liquid being the ones losing fights.
Yeah, and they have been. Duds in particular, Vitz in particular, they've been winning their fights when they shouldn't be against arguably better aimers on Liquid.
What you would expect to be.
You would expect to be, historically.
Yes.
Would expect them to be. And
some of the best.
There's no downplaying this. Liquid have played well, and that's the one thing I want to point out about this match.
It's a really good one.
You look at Black Dragon, you look at Black Dragons, and you look at Elevate. Both teams, they played a little rough. You look at NiP versus FaZe. Both teams played well, but they both committed mistakes. Liquid and INTZ are both playing this match well. INTZ is just playing better, and I think that's the thing to take note of.
It's exciting.
If you are looking at this and you want to do a post-mortem on this matchup, if INTZ ends up prevailing, and Liquid does not come back to draw this matchup, if you look at INTZ, you cannot turn around and say that they won by luck. You cannot turn around and say that Liquid had a bad game. Liquid has not had a great game, but they're still playing not much worse than you'd usually expect them to. They're not playing at that 10 out of 10 level, you think, from Liquid, but that's fine. And I think a big part of this is because INTZ is playing better, and it's shutting them down.
Yeah, it's putting Liquid in a corner, and you can kind of feel it by the way that Liquid are playing. It definitely, there's this sense of almost like Liquid are playing like they've been defeated, and we're not done yet. But I'm not really noticing any plays being made by Liquid. I'm not noticing them actually gaining this advantage early on, getting aggressive, trying to fight back. Right now, what I'm witnessing is INTZ is softening up the site. They're putting themselves in a great position to execute onto the site, and they've got the tools they need to attack this site without too many casualties. Will the impact tricking be successful? No! A missed impact from Sexy Cake, and the kitchen drop down is open. That is terrible for Liquid, especially on what could be the final round.
And Liquid struggled still on this site with that hatch staying closed. Now it's open and free for the taking of INTZ. 50 seconds left on the clock, and you've done something that you hadn't been able to do before, which is get further pressure onto Liquid. Nesk, lower on HP as his feet get picked away at. Same with Sexy Cake. This is going to be a challenge. Palu shaky, misses his fight once again against Duds, and Nesk takes even further damage.
Look at the HP.
Liquid are taking their lumps left, right, and center. Try to bounce a stun on down to coordinate against the push towards Armory and see which one you hit. You're only going to take one. Is it Sexy Cake or is it Nesk? But here's a breath of fresh air. PSK takes down LMAO. Trunks is in and he can go for the plant with Vitz covering from dirt. Nesk is down. Vitz pushes up onto Sexy Cake. He's done. Palu manages to fight back. Vitz is there. But VNX will cover the cross. He just narrowly misses the head of the bandit. Diffuser goes down. And Moringa, though, with 2 kills, one of which is a team kill. And Liquid will win the round. Diffuser does not end up going down. At the last second, it gets saved. And Liquid will stay alive for the time being.
That was incredibly back and forth. And it should have been an INTZ round. But that player holding the hallway, I didn't even catch who it was. It was so fast. Whoever was trying to hold the hallway cross really fell through for his team. If that hallway cross had been denied, that would have, without a doubt, been an INTZ Esports round, and we would have seen a 7-3 over Liquid. That would have been crazy. We're not done yet, mind you. There's still 2 more chances for INTZ, including this next round. But darn, that came close. If the operator selection is the same, it was VNX who missed that shot, but I can't say as an authority. Whatever the case be, a huge mistake there that cost
Attackers need to
INTZ
locate and defuse bombs.
what could have been a really impressive win. Already done. Liquid's going to go to Cash for the next round. Liquid have won Cash once and only played it once, so they are flawless so far on this site. It is where they got their first defensive win, which could push us to the very last round. Remember when we were saying this could be the only match today where we don't see all rounds played?
Yeah, well,
We were almost, well, we might still be right about that.
and I said that this is probably going to be the one match that might finish early, and I thought that was because Liquid would likely finish off INTZ faster. And
I thought the same.
Fair play to INTZ for making me eat my words. I'm going to be honest with you, they don't taste very good.
Your words?
Their words do not taste good.
What kind of, how would you describe the flavor?
It's a metaphor, Michael. So I would say that it tastes metaphorically.
It tastes like metaphor. Got it. It almost sounds like a flavor when you say it out loud.
No, it doesn't.
Nah, it doesn't.
What flavor you got? I will get the metaphor.
Okay, they're gonna.
It's like a medicine.
Yeah, it kind of does.
I took 2 pills of metaphor this morning.
Yeah, it's like maybe more like cough medicine.
You should have taken your pills of metaphor because maybe you would have got that right.
Yeah, maybe.
That's okay.
Sometimes I'm just a little too literal. Now, anyway, Liquid is holding on to Cash. Sexy Cake positioned once again in the garage. He did so much work there the last time. Ooh, and Paulu's going to get duds to start things off. This is looking good for Liquid. They want that 1 point, but VNX is in Lounge, which is huge. As a Buck in Lounge, he can work so much of the site to his team's advantage by opening up from below. And he's going to actually do us one better. He's going to nade from below and eliminate PSK. No bandit tricking anymore for Team Liquid. That's a really good play from VNX, making up for his blunder in the last round. The wall gets opened up because the bandit's dead, thanks to that nade from below. And now INTZ can execute onto the site. But the problem, once again, same as the last time we were on Cash, Sexy Cake, he's still alive in garage. INTZ has to do something about Sexy Cake before they push the site, otherwise they won't be able to plant. Because he's got a crossfire with his teammates. They have to do something without causing themselves too much harm in the process. Because Sexy Cake, well, he's really good in that spot, and especially with that Alda. Oh, VNX is eating some damage as he tries to open up garage. He'll die to a zap or 2 from that Evil Eye.
I think the Evil Eye might even be over somewhere towards the strip side. If that's the case, then he's in trouble, because if they've put the Evil Eye over on that drone hole by Strip Club,
Seen that before.
as we have many times, he's going to be in trouble. But I couldn't remember where both of them were played. I don't remember if we got to see both of them. I do remember one of them going up there. Sexy Cake gets dropped from a frag grenade.
That's big.
That's huge, and now you've got control of the garage and can continue up relatively unimpeded. You have the Jaeger of Paulu lurking down below. With 45 seconds left, he could be a major difference maker, and as I say that, he gets gunned down. Thrown to the wolves all alone. It's INTZ in a 4v2. Tough position. Moringa and Nesk are both stacked up. SMG-11's in hand. Watching very intently as the flashes go out. Moringa's in trouble now. C4 gets tossed from Nesk. It will not connect. Even though he's getting tons of marks, he can't hit the shots. All it takes is Moringa in a 1v4. He's been a savior for this team, but he's not going to be able to do too much. INTZ will stun the crowd and take the match by a scoreline of 7-4. So much for those 80-some-odd% of people that thought Liquid was going to take it. That is a shocker.
87% thought Liquid would have it. 5% of you thought this would be a draw. You guys came close, but 8, just that, thought that INTZ would win it. And, well, you're a very special bloke, or gal, if you were correct, because, boy, were those odds not great.
No.
And INTZ proved us all wrong.
The INTZ Thermite kit is available for